Fellow Gothamites, welcome back to a very special interview that I have with another member of the cast of Gotham. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hi. My name is Francesca Root-Dodson, and I play Ecco on Gotham.
Fantastic. Welcome to Gotham TV Podcast, Francesca.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's great to have you on board. I think from the first moment that Ecco started out on the show, she was instantly had this kind of connection with the audience. A character that's working alongside Cameron Monaghan, who's a very big draw for the Gotham fans. And then to have this moment with your character to begin with, as Jerome walks into the room and you effectively say you knew he was coming and you're going to put him in a cage for transport. What kind of excited you about this, playing this character to begin with? Was that kind of strength that she has?
I mean, honestly, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. Mm-hmm. So I just, originally I thought it was just going to be that one episode, and I auditioned for it with a Russian accent. So once you're speaking with a Russian accent, fierceness and being a stone cold killer, I think comes like a little easier. Like certain accents just lend themselves to certain characteristics. So, I didn't understand really what I was getting myself into, which is maybe a good or a bad habit of mine. I usually just roll up on set and I sort of know my lines and I just assume we'll wing it and it'll be fine.
We'll get there. Excellent. So you never knew at the beginning that you were going to have more than one episode, or did you just think it was going to be a few episodes? Or?
I thought it was just that one episode. I do believe that my manager, because I was being aligned with Jerome, my manager thought it was possible that I might have a couple more.
Yeah.
And actually from the beginning, my manager said, "You've got to learn the Harley voice."
Oh, right. Wow.
And I was like, "What are you talking about, man?" I was like, "I'm not going to learn the voice if they're not paying me to play her." And he was like, "Just trust me, just practice it, okay? Just be ready." And I was like, "Whatever, man." But he was right,
Fantastic. That's really good. I was going to say, because on that first episode, there was a moment where the character's under the hypnosis of Jarvis Tetch, and she fights with Jim and Harvey. And I remember we were live tweeting at the time with a bunch of the Gothamites and Gotham fans out there, and it was instant. Everybody was going, "This is Gotham's Harley Quinn." Did you have that kind of feeling yourself at all?
No, because I don't, one doesn't really want to have a lot of expectations in show business, or maybe in general, because you never know what's going to happen. So no, I didn't think that was happening. And actually, people on the set, not like a producer or anything like that, but production assistants and other people were sort of saying that Barbara Keene looked like she was going to become Harley. Nobody, basically, I don't think anybody but the fans thought that I was going to turn into that. And I wonder if, it's so hard to understand how these things work, but I wonder if the positive reception and the kind of the identification of fans being like, "Oh, that's going to be her." I wonder if that's what led it to happening. Who knows,
Absolutely. There is definitely a little bit of power in there when you have the fans behind you and playing that kind of role. They do have a habit, as you mentioned, of kind of keeping characters around they like when they see a strong performance in a role. Yeah. Definitely have a plan there. What was your reaction when you heard you were coming back for season 5 after doing a few episodes in season 4?
I was so happy. And Cameron had said that he was going to put in a good word for me, which of course is, really nice.
Always good, yeah.
Flattering of him. And then I remember I read another interview of his where he had kind of mentioned that he had done that. And, so I had a hope that I would come back because they didn't kill me and they killed everybody else at the end of he killed like all his minions at was it the series finale or the one before the series finale in season 4? And so I had a hope, but who knows with these things. But I was thrilled, especially when they showed me the sides for the scenes for 503.
Yes.
They actually, casting had me come back in and reread for the role because it was so different than what I had done before.
Yeah.
But I was thrilled when I saw, I like pop in for a moment in 501. But when I saw the scenes for 503, I was so excited because it was so fun, so.
Absolutely. It's a huge moment, really, for the character, obviously working with Cameron Bicondova in that episode, and really kind of standing aside from Cameron Monaghan's Jeremiah. Obviously you've had a lot of scenes with him over the years on the show, but having this huge moment where you're effectively standing on your own 2 feet as a character, and the character being so different from last season. It's very unhinged this season. Can you talk a little bit about your preparation for that, and do you see it as a completely different character, or is there a little bit of her still inside?
No, I think of it as like a complete psychotic break.
Right.
Although, I mean, that's like technical language. I don't think that this is within the world of, this is not clearly, I think, what happens to people when they have a psychotic break. But anyway, I prepared a lot. I mean, the thing that was so funny is that nobody explicitly said, like, now you've turned into a Harley Quinn prototype, change your voice, change everything. I just looked at the language as it was written in 503 and thought, I guess they're telling me secretly that that's what they want me to do. So then I just took it. I think that probably they would have just followed me wherever I went, but I decided to go as far as I could while still honoring. I really wanted to, what I basically did is I wanted to honor the like spirit of the character, especially the cartoon, and but I wanted to also, because Gotham is a different world, I wanted to have a new take. So what I did is I basically I watched the cartoon growing up, but I like rewatched all of Harley's stuff, and then I took just a quick look at Suicide Squad because I didn't really want to get too bogged down in that. But then I took that information and then did something that felt organic to me. Yeah. And I prepared a lot. I mean, when you have that much language, and it's so, I mean, if people who are listening have watched, I completely shifted my vocal range, and my physicality. And so anyway, I prepared, as opposed to my super blasé approach when I first came on the show, where I got on set and didn't even know my lines yet. This was totally different. I spent like weeks preparing for this, because it's a lot, it's a lot. And we shot it only over 2 days, which was nutty. And I was, wearing leather head to toe. Yep. I almost fainted at the end of the shoot because I'd been on my feet for like 12 hours, Yeah.
And especially with having the outfit as well as the makeup job that was done for Ecco in this season. It's absolutely amazing what they've done, the transformation that's there. I think there were some moments for fans, even who had watched season 4 repeatedly since last season, where they were wondering, is this actually Ecco that's arrived back on screen? Because the transformation was so different and you embody it so different. How long were you spending getting ready in the trailer for that role?
Oh, about 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it got faster as the season went on, when it became more automatic. But yeah, that hair and that makeup, it's beautiful. It takes a really long time. And they did such a great job. John, who's the head of the makeup department, did such a great job coming up with that like the split face with the flip, so I was and also the costume department is so wonderful. Part of what I love so much about Gotham is how beautiful all the production design is.
Absolutely.
The sets are incredible, the cinematography is incredible, the costumes. So I had such a fun time being able to be transformed in that way too, Yeah,
we always talk about it as like a film of the week, effectively. Like they're trying to put a film together in 8 days. It's quite a significant amount of time that they put into the show to try and get it just right and make sure everybody's scenes stand out. And really with this scene particularly that you're talking about, I suppose there's also a fight scene going on with Cameron Beacon-Dover, with Selena Kyle, that's going on in there. How much of that are you actively doing? I know obviously we have our choreographed fight scenes that are going on, but you're leading in and out of that quite a lot. Is that difficult to learn?
I used to be a dancer, so I didn't find it that hard. I did basically all of it except the like double back flip. And
you totally should have said you'd done that. I would have believed you.
I know, right? I know. But I basically I think I did almost everything else in it. So a lot, I would say about more than half or more than half of that is me, and I would love, if we had more time, and I would love to do like all my own stunts. Yeah. Just because I love the physicality of it and it's so fun and delicious, and so that was a real perk for me. And also last season getting to do that too, these extensive fight scenes. Yeah. So yeah, I certainly don't shy away from it. Excellent. And working with Cameron as a dancer herself, did you get some kind of moments with her as well? Yes, actually she had an injury much of this season. She hurt her leg. So it was amazing because she's on crutches, but would, put the crutches away for whenever we were shooting. Yes. So, which I assume takes a lot of fortitude, Yeah, absolutely. That sounds really hard. So I ended up doing a lot of it with her stunt double because of her injury. Yes, of course. But she certainly was like really lovely and easy and simple to work with, Excellent. And we already talked a little bit about Cameron Monaghan and your relationship with him, but obviously you spent a lot of time crafting the characters together on the show, I suppose. What's it been like working with him? What's your relationship between the two of you? I mean, he's amazing. He's one of the most focused and dedicated actors I've ever worked with before. And he, I don't know I don't know what he would officially call himself, but I would put him somewhere in like the realm of like method.
Right.
So he basically, to some extent, stays in character for the entirety of the shoot, which can be both terrifying and amazing. You know, and so what I would say about him that I really admire about him and his work, and it was so great to wait. Have you seen last night's?
Yes, we have.
Did you get to watch it? Yeah. So it was because you know when I wasn't there for all of his scenes, and it was so wonderful to watch his work last night. He's so good and so dedicated and concentrated, and it's just wonderful to be around someone who takes it so seriously. You know, and I think that I think he did a great job for iconic, really challenging. I mean, I can only imagine how much pressure it must feel like to take on that character.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely. But he seems so proud. He's been going since season 1. He seems so proud of the work that he's done. I know all the fans are really happy that he's finally getting that moment where he's, you know, hopefully going to be called Joker in the future at some point.
Yeah,
but you know, with no disrespect to Cameron at all. Of course, the character of Ecco is adding so much extra shade around the character of Jeremiah as it goes on. So the work that you've done with him, I absolutely believe, is kind of adding those extra layers into his character.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. Yeah, I try to just be fun. You know, that's my whole. I feel like so much of the spirit of the Harley Quinn character is just like a bag of fun.
Well,
you know?
speaking of which, speaking of which, last night you got the wonderful moment of roller skating around Jim and Lee while they were being moved around. I had that moment knowing I was speaking to you today. I had that moment wondering, did that take a number of takes, or are you just a very good roller skater?
I mean, can I tell you the honest to goodness truth?
Go on.
Which is that I practiced roller skating a bunch, and then when we got to the set, because we were shooting on a location, the floors were totally just like really full of holes and pock marks, and the stunt coordinator took one look at it and he said, "I'm not letting you roller skate on that."
No way.
Yeah. So actually, which was really sad, but also I could tell I was like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Well,
you know?
absolutely.
And
I want to make it to the end of the episode.
Yeah, we basically did a meld of me and the stunt woman, and I hope that doesn't ruin everything for everybody. But I was like so ready, I was so excited, you know, I was like, I'm gonna roller skate, man. And then Norm Macdonald was like, no, you're not.
No, it's not for you. But we do get a lot of other fun moments as well throughout the episode. You know, we have Ecco making her phone call to Jeremiah with the ever-extending aerial. A great performance there.
They didn't really show. That thing was like 4.5 feet long. It was so fun. And the thing is that you can never tell the way things are shot, you know? So basically, I didn't realize that I wasn't on camera, but basically that whole time that we were doing that, I was just talking to myself and then talking to the walkie-talkie and like having so much fun with the walkie-talkie. Of course, that like didn't even end up in the episode, but that prop was like my favorite prop the whole season.
Fantastic. It's really, really good fun. You know, you do have other great moments within the episode, but so many other great moments throughout the season. Is there anything specifically during your time on the show that you'll fondly remember? I
mean, 503, I would say that getting to play the Russian roulette with myself, that was, you know, shooting that was one of the peak creative experiences I've ever had. I felt so wild and free, and they really, you know, the director Rob, he really let me just do whatever I wanted, and so I'll think back on that as one of the, you know, my best experiences from the show, because it's rare you get to play somebody that deranged and fun.
Absolutely. And with a character like your character on the show, one of the really lucky things you've had, I suppose, is that it's always been event episodes that Cameron Monaghan has been in, so he's been able to deal and work with many of the other cast members on the show, which has allowed you to do it as well. I know you've worked with Benedict Samuel on last night's episode, and obviously with Ben McKenzie and with many, many others on the show. Any fun experiences working with the main cast?
I always try to just frighten the other people, you know, with my bizarreness. So I would say, by and large, I feel like I succeeded.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, Benjamin McKenzie sort of like, especially when we were shooting that scene last night, sort of like barely, two of them were both looking at me and they were like barely tolerating my insane behavior, you know. But the thing is that that's what I want. I'm like looking to elicit, you know, I'm like looking to elicit reactions from people. And actually, I remember in 503, there's this moment where I didn't even know we were rolling, but I lick blood that's on the wall in the pool.
Right.
I taste it, and then, but I was just doing that to scare Carmen. Right. You know, I wasn't doing that for like the scene. You know, so I basically take that. I try to take that approach. So.
Fantastic. Yeah, keep them all on their edge, really. Coming in for the end of the show, you know, the final season of Gotham. It's obviously been a huge show for all of us fans out there. And you're coming in the final season of the show. Was there any feeling while you were there that it was coming towards the end for you and for the cast?
I mean, yeah, because it was all announced, you know, and so everybody knew it was the end. They did add, as I'm sure you know, they did add 2 extra episodes. Yes. Originally, it was just a 10-episode order, and then they expanded it to 12. So that was a big surprise. But, you know, everybody knew when the deal was made for a 5th season that it would be a half-season order and would be the end. So, yeah, I think there was a sense of sadness for a lot of people, but also a sense of relief in that, you know, it's really... especially if you're a series regular, it's really hard work to be on a network show for 5 years. I mean, shooting 22 episodes a year, it's like 9 or 10 months a year, you know, of like 12 to 16-hour days, you know? Yeah. So I think people were sad, but also had felt like they were getting closure. And then for me, I was more so happy to just join. I wanted it to go on for years more. You know?
Of course.
But I think I was in the minority. So
totally understandable. And I suppose that's the big good news after last night's episode. Echo's still alive at the end of the episode.
Still alive.
And she's still got that dedicated cause of Jeremiah Velasquez. So obviously hoping to see her back in future episodes, causing a bit of havoc.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I'm not at liberty to say anything, but I hope so too.
Absolutely. Are there any other projects that you're working on, Francesca, that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah. I actually I wrote and directed a film, a feature film called Free Spirit.
Fantastic.
A few years ago, and it's just now finishing up, and it's going to be in a film festival in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Women's International Film Festival in March.
Oh, congratulations.
And yeah, it's great. It's a project I'm really excited about. It's about like a young man sees a woman on a train and ends up following her, and sort of it appears at first that she's like his romantic fantasy, but then everything gets turned on its head, and she's not.
Oh, wow.
So it's black and white, and it takes place all in one night in New York City. It was it's like inspired by Woody Allen's Manhattan, I would say, and French New Wave, and I'm really, really thrilled about it. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to be playing it, you know, it'll be playing in some festivals, but I hope to then distribute it, and so I'll be sure to, you know, let fans or whomever know that when it's available and how to purchase it, because I would love it's I mean, nothing could be further from Ecco.
Yeah.
It's in black and white, it's totally naturalistic, you know, but it's really, she's also actually, the character is also a little bit, I mean, in a very much more mild way, is a little bit unhinged as well, which is honestly the characters I prefer to play.
Excellent.
But yeah, I'll be sure to let everybody know when that comes out properly.
Yes, please do. That would be really interesting to see, and definitely let us know. Send us an email, and we'll let the Gothamites know as we go on with the rest of the series of Gotham. Francesca Root-Dodson, thank you so much for joining Gotham TV Podcast.
Of course. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
And it was such a pleasure having you on the show. Definitely one of the highlights of the last 2 seasons of Gotham.
Great. Thank you.
That was Francesca Root-Dodson, who plays Ecco on Gotham. Delighted that we were able to get that interview with her for you to talk about all of her time on Gotham. Some awesome moments over the last 2 seasons. Really, really enjoyed chatting with her about them and about her time on the show. Really, really fun. We will be back, obviously, with our review of this week's episode of Gotham. Gotham Season 5, Episode 7, Ace Chemicals. Lots and lots of stuff going on in that episode. Please join us. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast at GothamTVPodcast.com, where you'll find places to subscribe, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, loads and loads of places to subscribe, or you can listen right there on the website. We'll be back with our review of 507 over the weekend. Thank you so much for joining me, and thanks so much once again to Francesca for her time.
This is Francesca Root-Dodson. I play Ecco on Gotham. You're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.